I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
With everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
welcome
To the Sesh.
Sesh, what's up, guys?
Howdy ho.
We are trying out the Dr. Dabber XS. This thing is tiny. It's a dab rig.
It is.
What's really cool is that the top, where the banger, it seals completely.
Like
It's got a
pushes down
glass one.
into it.
What I'm thinking you do is you put your
Tap over the top.
and you just go, so it allows time for it to not escape, but keeps it in a controlled setting. Maybe you need to increase the temperature.
That's what I was wondering. Oh, there we go.
Here.
All right, so 3 clicks is how you change
Yeah.
temps. And then you press and hold it, and it'll heat up. This is a fantastic little piece. I like how handheld this is.
Dude, on the drives.
Yeah, this will be perfect for, like, road trips.
Remember that little one you had that you used to take on,
Yeah.
on road trips? That one would be way better.
That's good. Hang on.
There we go. Tap it, tap it.
So the other one is the OXO C-Note. I still have that for road trips, but I like when I go out of town because if I'm going away, I don't want to bring one of the big, huge guys. But that is like perfect for
Whoa.
traveling somewhere. You could just, if I were to go camping in that, I just bring that guy. He's so tiny.
Well, and yeah, I've got a camping trip I'm going on here in the next day.
Dude, even hiking. That would be my hiking. Like, this is the perfect hiking rig,
It's
camping
so
rig.
light.
Like, yeah, you just pop it in the side of your bag. It's itsy bitsy.
Look in there.
I know. It was like
Still clear? Or is it a little brown?
very clearish, like,
Slightly yellow. See, the thing
Not
I don't
even
like about ceramic
bare.
bankers is that the temp is always too high, and you just see it in there. And this one, it keeps it all in there, which keeps cleaning super easy.
oh yeah, you just
imagine
take
this?
a Q-tip and
Well, you
swoop.
just unscrew that, pop it out, and the
Yeah.
banger screws in and it snaps in there. The other one that I really like is the Bomb Cycloud because it clicks in,
Yep.
and that is the easy. It has the best airflow.
I do like that spinning top. It's so fun.
You lose a little bit, dude. I'm telling you what, like the
Let's see.
airflow at the bottom of that banger,
Mhm.
it has these like fin, like gills,
Holy shit, that's crazy.
and it's so easy to clean. But the whole rig itself, it's super easy to clean. This is
So right now, this Dr. Dabber XS just on its own is $159.
that's not bad.
And you can save 10% by clicking on the link below
Yeah,
in the show notes.
yeah.
So,
Go use that. And Dr. Dabber gave us that code. You guys, it runs until they tell us to fuck off. So cool things are here. But it was
curious
it.
on the battery life on this. Let's see if it tells us real fast under maybe specifications. So it's got 4 temperature settings ranging from 475 up to 625. And so it gives you, it says 9 to 12 seconds to heat up. And you get 35 heating cycles on a single charge.
Yeah.
35 sessions on a single charge? That's impressive as hell on that little tiny device. I'm going to put a little bit more in there. You should. Dude, that's legit. Dr. Dabber, your stuff is dope. Like, I sent them an email back because they hadn't said anything about sending it out. And I just sent it back and I was like, you guys spoiled us. I said, we got so excited that we actually pushed it up and it comes out in like Thursday's episode. Oh, if you heat it up, it's harder to scoop it. I always scoop it cold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it'll slip right off.
That's what she said.
Yep.
What I love about this,
Oh, just press it once and it'll heat up. Yeah.
what I love about this part.
Yep, just the little drip. No. It doesn't get the rest. I usually just wipe it on the inside of my glass jar again. Figure it'll get used later. Just because I'm like, I don't want to get the sides of my banger or anything dirty.
Dude, do you know what this looks like?
Huh.
A pregnancy test.
I know.
Oh, look.
It is
Green.
positive!
Positively high.
God. Yeah, you're about to be, what's it like, inhyanated? Because it's not impregnated.
You're going to be happy. That's all I know. This is so cool. What the little thunk. I don't know. I don't want to be a commercial about these guys, but this shit's cool.
Yeah. And I'm really surprised that it's just a very affordable price range for that.
Yeah, and it's high quality, guys.
Dr. Dabber.
It's Dr. Dabber. Really, there's not much more you can say. Look at that little splash in there. Isn't that cool looking?
Yeah. I like the design.
I love the design.
I think the glass is sleek.
it's just good.
Do you guys put water in your dab rigs. We haven't been doing it for ages now.
Ever since we had Alex on the show?
Yep. And honestly, I feel like the experience is just so much better without water in it.
Do that. A dead pull. There you go. Wow. All right.
Now that we'll get properly elevated. That's the thing with candy gas, though. I feel like I'm never feeling stoned when I have it. It's not a displaced, it's not a like stony feeling. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty clear-headed, energized.
You have to have a good amount of candy gas, I feel, in this, just for those who are more experienced cannabis consumers. And when I say experience, meaning habitual, you're using it daily. It shouldn't be your only thing in your diet, but fucking hell, it's so easy for it to be your only go-to. It's like eating hamburgers for breakfast, morning, noon, and night. I could do that. I could totally do that. I have no problem doing that. I like simplicity with my meals. Even though I can cook very complex meals, I choose simplicity over anything. I mean, like cheap, fast, and easy.
I have a lot of the time pretty common stuff throughout my week.
I hate it. I hate it now because I'm just like, what the fuck to make?
That was my problem always that I'd find when I was trying to figure out what to do for dinner. And it really only happened after it became just me because I was like, oh shit, well now what do I actually want?
Dude, you know.
And then I would scroll Yelp, looking at like food places and going, do I want to pick something up? What do I even want to eat? And then I would spend literally like an hour scrolling Yelp, looking at places like, what's this place? All right. And then I would, same with recipes. I used to spend hours scrolling Pinterest, throwing recipes up like, maybe I'll make this one and this one. I haven't used Pinterest in years, but 90% of my boards are all just recipes.
Shit. Yeah, no, for me, you have to excuse me, the candy gas is kicking in. Plus, we had a great episode with
Animal Tsunami.
That one was really chill. Go check out that episode.
It gets chiller the longer that it sits.
Yeah.
But
not in a bad way.
No.
Just to really like, I'm just going to hang out, cause no problems.
Like if you've been stressed and you need to just chill out.
Yeah. You almost have like this.
Strain.
From my head, I was hearing like Caribbean vibes, either that or some like weird Final Fantasy game.
Oh, that's why you were talking about sunning. You're like, I just want to be on the beach.
Yeah, I'm just got this like vibe in my head. But with candy gas, it's awesome because it elevates the conversation. No, actually, I was gonna bring something up. I just got texted by a buddy of mine. Now again,
Thanks for rubbing it in.
Yeah, well,
Jesse's cool and he's got buddies.
I got buddies. No, they sent me this thing about this. Anytime I see mainstream media put out anything about medical, these are the same fucks that decided to try and get you to take the vaccine. And whatever, whether you're for it or not, which, it's just stupid.
It's just the lack of science behind it and the push of...
It's the lack of journalism.
Yeah.
Journalism used to... Dude, you know what journalism is now? It's a fictitious character in a movie that's doing the right thing.
Yeah. Even
investigative journalism is dead
because no one wants to call out. Well, I guess if they do, it either shoots themselves in the foot or they get trampled over because no one actually does that anymore.
I think of the thing. It's like Vice. Vice used to be like really good investigative journalism, and then it's not.
Yeah.
And why? They were taking out
money.
Yes, they were taking out the best way to stop something. Twitch. Same thing. Gamers making a platform to communicate with gamers that turned into a business that sold for billions of dollars. Why? For private interest groups. What could we sell on there? How could we sell it? You develop these really strong demographics of people because you force them into these demographics from FOMO. Dude, that thing is a really cool rig.
It really is.
I'm really shocked of how good that.
I am too, for like how tiny it is.
Well, because you see things like that where it's got that like screwed up
and you expect it to be
dildo,
really shitty.
Right? Yeah. They were like, this one, you put too much heat on it. It's all bent at the tip. We can't sell it. Well, maybe it'll curve around and get to the, no one's buying that.
Yeah, but if you blow in the other end, then maybe it helps get there. So
that's where Brandon's going. Anyways, so this is such a cool device, guys. Seriously. Code Cannabis School. Is it Cannabis School or CSP?
God.
Something?
It's in the emails And it's in
You'll see it down below.
the episode notes below.
Yeah.
So
Go down there, use the code. Freaking hell, dude, 150?
160, but you get 10% off.
Yeah,
so.
dude. I mean, that's going to cover your shipping more than likely, which is
Right.
fucking
Or
awesome.
sometimes places like that offer free shipping on orders over
Look
like
at that.
50 or
You
100
see how
bucks.
it like splashes in there?
Yeah. I thought it was very
That's
interesting.
so- Well, at least let you know, like, that's
Yeah.
dirty. This is really easy to clean. Anyways,
Yeah, I'm excited.
off that one. But this guy had sent me this thing from CNN. Marijuana use drastically increases risk of dying from heart attacks and stroke. But what a lot of these studies, and I've seen this
CNN.
already,
Yeah.
and a lot of these studies forget to be able to put into there, is that the individuals that are having those issues had pre-morbidity conditions.
That
These are
led to those things.
overweight,
Yeah.
severely overweight, type 1, type 2 diabetes,
Yeah.
not being managed. Like, I get that.
Well, but yes, you're type 2 diabetic, but those first two things go very much hand in hand. Like
100%.
being morbidly obese and stuff. And it's like there is certain things that come with that just your body's not built to handle that. And
Well-
it leads to more issues.
Well, exactly. And the other side, though, is to be able, where are they getting the data? They'll say it's a large set of individuals. If it's not 50, 100, 200,000 people, which I know is an astronomical number, but when you're getting it out of a small demographic, 50,000 people is not a lot of people.
Most of theirs is actually out of context. I feel.
Exactly.
And if you look at the real data set that's pulled, oftentimes the headlines and the data that's said is actually not the data that the actual survey matches. And so it's been interesting because when I see those, I usually like to go read the actual data and the survey. And go,
Exactly.
oh, what happened? And then I'm like, oh, hey, this actually just says it's for this data set. And here it's not really a accurate like collection of all this user or consumer data. It's just more of like, hey, it's like looking at it and going, hey, using cannabis when you're at this certain stage will cause this. Well, that's all anecdotal in that because 90% of what our studies are anecdotal and everything else. But then it's not even pulled from something. It's like, well, this person who got in trouble was doing this. So that shows that it causes this because, well, they've used these different things and so that just correlates. You're like, but you're missing all these other predisposed things that might actually have been through there. Like what happens in that person's genetic line, everything else, where there are other products that they were consuming prior to that, were there other things going on in their life before that as well? Like it's not just looking at this one aspect and going, this causes every single thing that you see there.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is that what it sounds like to me when studies like this come out, I know people that are in their 80s who have been using cannabis since the 60s,
Oh, yeah.
and they're doing just fine. Is it like that fat dude who gets that giant fucking gravity bong out of his pool of linking like 16 2-liter bottles together to create this huge hit? Is that guy going to die? Possibly, but he would do that from inhaling any type of
But
smoke.
that's also dose dependent.
It-
You know, you're looking
100%.
at it and you're like, how many people who are in their older age are taking crazy high, like 1 gram dabs? How many people are doing really large doses of edibles or are doing these gravity bongs that are massive? Well, the only one I know is Tony, where his grandma gets high as fuck all the time. And he's always like blasting her in the face with weed and stuff. And his mom's always yelling at him for getting her too high. That's the only person I've ever seen is his grandma. And she's not like, she might be in her 70s. She might be 80. I have no idea.
So this study that CNN used,
Tell me
so
more.
it was a global systematic review of the meta-analysis. So, okay. Led by researchers at the University of Toulouse? I don't know. I'm horrible pronunciations when I read it, and then somebody will go, no, it's this. I'm like, that says violin? Anyways. It included data from 24 large observational studies, 17 cross-sectional, 6 cohorts, 1 case control, conducted between 2016 to 2023. In total, the analysis encompassed approximately 200 million participants, mostly the ages of 19 to 59. So the study's findings said they were 29% higher risk of acute coronary syndrome, 20% higher risk of stroke, 2 times higher in the risk death of cardiovascular disease. But the counter argument to that is a residual confounding of like pre-morbidic, like we just talked about, measurement imprecisions. What was the frequency? What's the dose? What's the method that they were using?
Yeah.
Right? Observational studies, limitations, including potential sections of bias and shared data sets across studies threaten reliability. So because it could have been 200 million thing, but we don't know how reliable these tests were done.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts on that, potentially. So my dad, when he was crazy stressed, working, like they had the homes, they were doing the best they ever did, but at the same time, his blood pressure was through the roof. And the doctors told him, your heart physically can't handle this long term. You will die. You will rupture some part of your heart. I wonder if it were to go, hey, these people who maybe had crazy high consumption where their doses were always putting their hearts in crazy, horrible states might induce more stress on it that might cause more, like lead to higher percentages of heart attacks and that. So I could potentially see incredibly high dosing, like on a regular, consistent, all the time basis where you're putting your body in this stressful state.
Well, and that's another thing too is, and this is a quick check on myself, man. I've been dabbing a little too much lately. I know that.
Do you feel like you're really elevated and like crazy high heart when you do it, or just...
No, but I do have like, I have, what's it called? Like moderately, I'm low on high hypertension. It's getting up there. It's not crazy, but it's getting up there.
Could that be from all of life and everything else?
That is a big contributor to it, but depending on what strains I'm smoking will affect that. Now, as much as I like candy, it does elevate my heart rate, which can change my blood pressure. And I typically feel it in my heart on that.
I don't feel it racing, but it's not as chill as it was with Amni and
No, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's, again, I mean, it's like what you said before. It's the intent. You're like, I'm using this for pain. And so when you're using cannabis for certain things, I would say like it's a quick check. Like, am I doing this because I'm bored? Because sometimes I do that.
It might just be dose then. And we talk about that too. Like, hey, there's the habitual side of, well, it's here, I'm going to keep puffing, versus, hey, I'm bored. I'm going to take one hit. I'm going to use that hit to find some way to overcome my boredom.
Yeah.
But again, it's dose. How much are we using? How often are we using? What is our purpose for it? Like, there's times, and maybe it's okay to be bored, but sometimes it's really fucking hard to be bored because, I mean, we live in this constant world of, we've got these computers in our hand that entertain us constantly. You know, and any whim and whimsy that pops into our head, it's, oh, pull out our phone. Oh, think of this, pull out our phone. Oh, think of this, pull out my phone. Hey, well, don't worry, I'll just pull out my phone.
Yeah, dude, I since I did that 3-day fast of no social media, no YouTube, no nothing, not even LinkedIn. I found myself subconsciously going to it when I opened up my phone because I was going to add something. I could listen to books, I could read books, or I could watch a show, but I wasn't allowed to go to YouTube. And that actually was helpful because I watched a show, but I didn't feel like I needed to watch another thing right after. You can be learning a lot, which is super fucking cool. But at the same time,
it's what's next.
Right? And then the distraction. You know, when shorts came out, best thing for marketing, worst thing for human brains.
Oh, yeah. It's that TikTok reel mind and stuff. And you're like, cool. Now I need something new and entertaining. And
it's all based off of whatever you've talked about or whatever you've inquired about. Then you will start getting biased information that will be geared towards whatever conversations you're having. It'll be all pro one thing, and then you fuck around with your phone. You don't even have to do that. You could just say shit on your phone going, I don't know why communism's getting a bad rap. I think we should all do it, right? If I say that, now I'm like my Facebook feed's like going to have
excited to see where your algorithm goes.
Communistic like support groups coming out like, hey bro, we heard about what you said. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's like that. It's all driven for you to buy.
Yeah,
and that's totally, I mean,
driven. Yeah.
But it's, you know, listening to that book, I know why. It made so much more sense of why we are the way
Which
we are.
book?
The end of the world is just the beginning.
Okay.
And the reason why it made sense is that before we worked to live and provided just enough to have a little bit more.
Yeah.
But once we started to get more, we wanted less of people. Kids weren't seen as a value add to the family to keep economic status high. It was a liability. Got all these rugrats coming around here, and they don't have anything to do.
Yep.
So they created schools because they didn't have anything for them to do. And it was all in good intent. Oh, we'll teach them how to read. What a concept.
Yeah.
But then
You think about it, though.
it's
Like,
so crazy.
you go back even at the starts of America, like 200 years after and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Education was you go for a short stint, you learn a lot in that time.
Totally.
People were way more eloquent, like creativity and stuff was way better than it is now. But people would work at their family thing or be sent off to go learn a trade or to learn something a little bit and then come back, and like it was just a very different thing. But now
Yeah.
schools, like, instead of a short stint, it's, hey, we need to fill 8 hours of your day because, well, your parents work 8 hours. So we need you to be here for 8 hours, and then we're going to give you homework and stuff. Well, because we're not smart enough to design a system that really, like, uses our kids' abilities to the best that they have. Like, we could design, there's so much better education, possibilities out there than what we have.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It was kind of I went down a rabbit hole based off of a conversation that we had a while ago. And I contemplated why. Just a curiosity on my part, not to answer it. But you had said, well, I'm not proud to be an American. And I go, I totally get that. But I didn't know why I got that. I did. So I started to search on it. And the reason why, it's like our common friend. When we don't have a purpose, we don't feel good about ourselves. When was the highest time of...
And you feel that's why I'm not proud to be
No.
an American?
I'm saying a lot of people, and I'll get to the point. That's just the start, and then I want to hear what you think on this one, because it's not an assumption, it's a theory, and the theory is that we don't have a lot of national pride because we don't really fucking care. We don't have pride because we don't contribute. We think we contribute, but we don't contribute. You look at other nations that contribute, they have strong cultures, not of, like the Germans with the Lederhosen, right? Or the Italians with their pasta.
Culture.
Yeah. No, culture goes well beyond that. That's food culture.
Yeah,
there's
but there's
entertainment
still
culture.
society, like, they have an entire
A proud.
culture. Yeah.
A proudness
because they
of it.
have something to be proud of, I feel
Yeah.
like.
And the reason why a lot of them have proud feelings is they actually take part in building their country. When
How
you
so?
have, and this is where I was going to go with it, I think that it would be a cool idea to introduce mandatory service, but not in the sense of military. I'm saying that if we went back to where a police officer can only work in the town that he grew up in because he knows that town really well, I think that's better than bringing in some dude from LA who's worked on hard streets and comes here with the hard attitude. And because he was conditioned through PTSD to act a certain way as a police officer. So I'll finish, and then I want your opinion on that, where we don't have that pride. When we had pride in this country was after World War II, because we created. It was some of the fastest decline in violence and more exception of a melting pot of cultures. It was rough. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but it was definitely on the upward trend of more bringing people together, because when everybody's doing good, it's easy to see the good in everybody.
I think a lot's changed in that time frame,
Of
too.
course,
when
course.
America was coming up, and then was...
I'm not talking
a lot
about
of
like at the
laws
first.
and things have changed that has not made this country the same as
No,
it used
dude,
to
it's
be.
changed 7 times.
Yeah.
It's
So
changed 7 times, and it
look
will
at
continue
that-
to change.
It will, 100%. But I think that the ability to have pride in something can also change, because they look at it and go, yeah, this is cool because this is the story that's been painted in front of us. And this is the story everyone's told us. But then you look at other perspectives and you go, but maybe this picture that they've said isn't as pretty and shiny and that as they said. Maybe this picture that we're supposed to be holding up and rooting and that is kind of shitty sometimes. And then maybe right now, this picture we're holding up is actually kind of covered in shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of this shitty picture at this moment.
Well, and the counter argument I had to that is that I get where you're coming from, but where if you really go talk, not the tourist shit, I'm talking really talk to other people around the world, they would say they would gladly come over and be an American.
Oh, yeah. I've talked to people all around the world.
Right. And so when you're talking about that, what I see it is just we haven't suffered enough to actually start to give a shit about what's going on. And here's what I mean by that. Because I like where you're going, and I totally agree with that. But what we have is a bunch of armchair consultants who think that they could do better, yet won't get involved in civic duty.
Yes.
And the reason why we have so many evil politicians is because most of the people became conformists. They were like,
well, because
I want my
even
weekends,
within our
I want my
locals,
boats.
we don't do anything within our local communities.
No.
So it's, like you said, we've got armchair experts who go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Which has been so nice
whatever
to be
it
off
is. And so
so much better.
that's where all these experts are, is on these stupid platforms or on their podcast or wherever it is that they're going, oh, this is this. And you're like, cool. Well, that doesn't actually do anything because you're armchair expert. You're not going out. You're not actually making an impact. You're not even trying to make an impact. But like, hey, I shared this post.
Well,
hey, I ranted about this.
You're wanting to look at it from an extreme bias situation of going, well, this side I feel more a part of.
You think mine's incredibly biased?
What's that?
You just said I look from a very incredibly biased perspective.
People.
Okay.
I'm sorry if you took
that.
No.
That's what I was trying to say.
All of us do. All of us do. And the reason why we do it is groupthink. When you are involved online constantly in some chat and that person you agree with on some level or another, you're going to go, I like what they're saying and I'm going to stick with that, which is great. That's your right.
I think that only works for a little bit because I don't think there is any human in the world that I agree with on everything. I think I agree with every human probably on a certain level of things. I think that's okay.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that there might be difference in beliefs, thoughts, how I approach things at every single human. But there might be similarities with every single human as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I will look at anyone's thoughts or perspectives or thing and always go, this is always right. Or I will look at it and go, what they've said, because...
No, I totally get that.
There's never going to be a person that I look at and go, you're perfect. You will always have the right thought, words to say, approach, whatever. Yeah. Every one of us is fucked up and flawed. And so if I look at it and I go, hey, I'm going to put you on a pedestal or you, well, no, I'm the fucking idiot because I'm the one putting someone else on a pedestal.
we allowed this world to happen for comfort. We sold our freedom for comfort. And the reason 100%. Why, what I think of the definition of freedom isn't your ability to do whatever the fuck you want. Freedom is your responsibility to keep it.
And you have to stand up for your rights, otherwise you lose them.
But that's the thing. Like, all I hear in today's society is a lot of talk.
Yes.
And little fights.
Because it's all the social media.
It's not even that. It is our world as a collective, dude. We are soft fucking people. We are so soft. Out of history, we are incredibly soft.
Yeah,
we fight. Well, no, we fight over about feelings now, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We fought over goods and all that other stuff, land. And now we fight over feelings, which...
because if you try and fight someone else over that, you'll get sued, you'll go to jail.
No. I'm not saying like those things. I'm saying like those laws continue to be created on top of one another because nobody's listening, nobody cares, and they find a way around it. So there's no real big consequence. It's like the idea, like in other countries, even to this day, you steal something, they'll cut off your hand. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty big fucking deterrent.
But same with the politicians. They have an issue, they kill the politician because you're not fucking listening. You're doing what we're like.
Or we don't, or there's an organized crime in there that doesn't want it to go away, and so they'll do that. Italy did that. Mexico's going through that. Like, so many countries.
It's the same thing, but America, like, it's very soft because we've got, on one side, we've got the president who is what it is, and we've got very soft people. And I think the government is allowed to do what they do because we care, but we don't care.
No, we just don't. We're just not willing to be able to get involved.
Yeah,
and that's
we
what I'm
care,
saying.
But we
Like,
don't care.
you look at those countries that are very proud of where they are, and the people will actually force change.
Yeah.
Is because they're willing to do that. What I see now is you've got two volatile.
That's why we don't have change.
Well, no, we don't have change because we do groupthink.
Yeah,
because we're not.
People don't do it. Like you said, other countries have done that, but we have not.
In some ways. I mean, I'm not going to look at Europe as some great thing. They are in a clusterfuck of craziness right now with massive immigration issues, not being able to keep up with. They've gotten brownouts, blackouts in certain areas, and it's all due to too much people on the load. It wasn't built for that. It's like Provo. Provo was not built for the people that it has.
Or Orem. We get brownouts all the time. We get blackouts here because it's like the power goes out. Oh, sorry, our grid's old as fuck. It's not meant to support this.
Because they didn't think to update that. They built more homes than they upgraded the system. And that's the same thing. It's
that's how we are here. And maybe it's very common everywhere else too, but like our road system, like they've plotted for 20 years of, hey, we're going to double in population, but yet there's not been any plan on infrastructure.
It's so hard to move it because where does the money go? It goes towards public things. Like, I think it's ridiculous when they're investing on these nice things. Like, we're not at that point where we've passed our golden age. I think that we're going to go into a steady decline based on
the United States,
the world. I don't think the United States will suffer as much as anywhere else. Not at all. We have the largest landmass. We also have the best resources. We don't have to import, but we do. It was after World War II that we started to import because every other we could have easily just came in as an empire, easily, but they didn't. And when they didn't, it created commerce. Now trade lines were open. The U.S. Navy would protect your ships. That's why oil was able to go everywhere, as opposed to just because oil in the United States was only made in the United States. You got gas here, you got gas in Europe. It was only made there. It wasn't shipped. It's so crazy how
Which
fast.
is nuts, because even then, like in
It's not
the
long.
60s was when they had that gas shortage here,
Dude,
and they had rations.
It was in the 70s.
And my grandpa was like, they had rations for food, for gas, for all of that shit here. That wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah, it was in the 1970s. It was during Carter's
That
administration.
was after World War II.
Yeah, it was after Vietnam.
Yeah.
It got really bad. And you know, honestly, it's like the strangest thing, but it's...
That was a lot of American ingenuity time, though. A lot of American cars and a lot of American products being built.
Hard Times does really good things for Americans. And so...
No, I meant even during that, we were still getting fucked, so...
Well, but it's ingenuity. You know, the thing that doesn't create big change? Soft times. Hard times create big change to simplify things. Think about it. The automobile, all the shit, fucking refrigerators, AC. This is only created because we're having more comfortable times. We're spending more time indoors as opposed to the farming era before the industrialization of America. Dude, people just farmed.
Do you think we had more inventions in the last 200 years?
Oh, 100%.
Than before it?
Way more. Because you had more people who are educated, well-read, and could combine with other people that are not just within their small communities.
When
they
do
could
you
go
think
outside.
that started declining?
What do you mean?
Having so many well-read, well-spoken, educated people.
I don't think it was a goal, and nowhere in history
wasn't
did
a
we have
goal.
mass education.
No, I said, when do you think that changed? That we went from smarter, more intellectual, that to where we are now?
I'd say like the 1960s, early 1960s in education.
They changed a lot of the structure of education in the 60s.
It got dumber, got longer. You talk to people who were in high school during the 70s, and they felt the same way that kids feel today. They felt it was a waste of time. They'd rather be doing something else. Because back then, it's like what we read about, like in the 1800s, kids who did get education, it wasn't all day. It was a short amount of their day. And they had high intellect. And the reason why, honestly, it's because...
So that's the other time I was thinking about inventions, was like Edison's time and stuff, where there was...
But there's very few people that did that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But there's still very few people who create inventions overall. There's
so many inventions. A lot of them don't come out. Not because of one
Probably.
thing or another. It's usually capital now. You have to have the money. You think about if Westinghouse actually believed in Tesla and said, fuck it, let's save the world.
Yeah.
Where would we be now?
Yeah.
Or we could have figured out that Tesla was a quack.
But that's the other thing, though. So, like, inventions come from hard times, but that's the other thing is, like, we talk
create easy
about
times.
Atlantis times, or that where they probably didn't have normal jobs in this, and they, or like Greek philosopher times and stuff. Like,
Well, we didn't have jobs.
was there a lot of,
necessarily.
yeah, so is there maybe not jobs within that and not the same type of need, but like more creative stuff
Honestly,
produced because of,
No, I get what you're saying. Like, I think that maybe even the 60s is too early to say that. I think that the steady decline was the more comfortable that Americans became, everywhere else wanted to do the same thing. Why not? I mean, these bad motherfuckers come in and stop the war. Everybody else tried to, and they couldn't.
I just wish we got on board with the 30-hour work week that a lot of Europe follows.
I think those are obsolete because you think about, because of comfort, because we have a lot more
You think
comfort.
the 30-hour work weeks are obsolete?
I think they are in many ways because I think that most jobs, I would say 90% of the jobs out there are ridiculous.
Yeah.
They don't serve a
Oh, they
purpose
are.
of making anything, but they don't really serve anything.
Oh, you mean it could be less than 30?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Yeah.
and
I
that's,
just mean in an American society where it's 40 plus hours.
well, I think it's going to change. I think it's going to go back to less. And the reason why is because there's less emphasis on higher education now more than ever. More people are saying don't go. You know the only people who press it?
Old people. And,
Banks.
And old people.
Because they came from the generation of shut up and do what you're told.
Yeah.
Generation X came in going, what the fuck did you guys do?
Oh, I grew up with shut up and do what you're told too.
Oh yeah, no, I grew up with those people from that one, but I also had extremely rebellious, all of my siblings did, extremely rebellious and not conforming to that, constantly in trouble with authority, like, because we just didn't agree with a lot of those things at that time. But
A lot of it doesn't necessarily make sense always.
But it's soft. It's just comfort, man. I mean, honestly, we traded our ambition for comfort, because you think about it, it's like in your dad. Your dad works so hard on tons of shit. His back's so fucked up. He's in pain all the time. And yet he's never spending time in this extravagant home.
Yeah.
It's a waste. It's a waste not to, oh, so many families could live there. No, who cares about that shit? It's a waste because what are you doing it for?
Yeah,
And it's
why?
because of comfort. It's like it's primal in him going, fuck this comfort. I have to do something. It's that deep-seated in. It's like our friend that I won't mention his name on air, but our friend who has no purpose whatsoever. You see that dullishness in his eyes. I mean, it's fucking evident, dude. It weighs on him
Yeah.
heavy. That's why we're like in such search of like jump in fucking cold water. This is fucking hard. It's almost like our souls are saying like, quit being such a fucking pussy and do something hard.
Which is interesting too, because at the same time, so many of us quit when we do try something hard, you know? So it'll be like, oh,
because
hey.
there's an out.
Yeah.
There's an out. No, if you have the attitude, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. You've got to do it.
I don't think many of us have lived in that world.
No. And you know what happens right after you get there? Who do I trust? Who do I trust? And that's going to be based off of friendship.
But
True
then
friendship.
I feel the hard part, if not, is like my dad's generation, that one with it.
Yeah.
He has no fucking friends.
I know. Because he
It
works all
feels
the time.
like he is just alone. And so it's cool to have this like really hard toughness and that, but at the end of the day, he is alone.
Yeah, but you look at cultures in back in the day. I mean, I'm not going to go like into the Spartans, and I mean, they've got really fucked up things in their culture. But the thing that they did was that hard times were also celebrated. You look at the Vikings, hard times celebrated.
Oh, yeah.
Almost every society up until the industrial age was strong together. Communities were strong. Families were strong.
Yeah.
You didn't move away from your family. You didn't go, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to New York to make something
Well,
of myself.
That's why I think my whole family's still here.
I think
like,
it's a
we
common
grew
thing.
up with like, we worked hard and we'd play hard. We'd go four-wheeling and boating on the weekends. We'd do all this stuff and be totally exhausted, but like we would work long hours all week long and do all of that. And it was, I don't know, I think that is, you kind of, if you do that type of thing, you have to celebrate sometimes, because otherwise,
They go hand in hand.
yeah.
But look at your dad's a prime example, because he doesn't have somebody to celebrate with that he wants to celebrate with, even though he'll go on trips, but he doesn't even enjoy his
He
time.
just chooses not to. It was like he spent all this time on his house and doing these projects, and then he misses stuff with the family and that, and then he's frustrated, like, oh, I don't get this time with the family. Well, you choose not to take the time with the family, but I've appreciated, like, it was fantastic. I loved that he came and helped me, and he's always there when I need him. When it was like, Dad, my water heater, it's leaking. Yeah, he's like, oh, we'll replace it Monday. Okay, all right. And so we went out and spent the day, and because this home is old as fuck, it took way longer than it normally should have.
Oh yeah, you had to make a bunch of shit.
And
to
it was
get
like,
to fit.
oh my gosh, this is just so much fun. But, you know, like, I do enjoy that and that connection with him, but it's this realization of like, man, how many of us are in that position and are just still so alone? Like, we want that human connection, but we don't know how to do it because all we are is just so, I need to be doing this.
Well, because
constant thing.
even your dad's a prime example of that one. Why do you need a house like that? Why did he need to redo all of the house? And you come up with a million things, but it's vanity. All of us are driven by vanity in one way or another. It's the clothes we wear, it's the things we do, places we go. But sometimes we start to associate like the shitty restaurant that has a bullet hole in the window, right? And this is just an example. But like, if that was our spot and it was
Yeah.
always $7.50, it wouldn't matter because there's a presence there. And that's what we have tried to do with consumerism, is we tried to fill this gap of the dopamine hit of new and cool, because we're it's like colors in nature. Think of a baby seeing a huge field of flowers and a bunch of different colors. I mean, their minds would explode of, this is amazing. And that's how we are with things. We're like a toddler's mind when we get a new phone or
I know.
something. But how quickly now, the new phone was like the coolest thing in the world. Now it's just like, oh, here's what I don't like. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Like, I mean,
Oh,
it's
how's
not
your
like,
phone? It's fine. Like, it's not this and it's not that. And it's,
what a great,
Yeah.
what a marvelous time of technology we live in. And it's going to come to an end. It's going to come to less, not the end, but it's going to come to the end for a lot of countries. And the reason why is because a lot of them can't survive without us. And we overextended ourselves, but we did it to ourselves. And as shitty as it sounds, yeah, we shouldn't be the police of the world, but we kind of took the job.
Yeah.
And we said we would. And I know we're done with it, but it literally is, dude. Like, honestly, just those 3 days being off social media, I was like, man, we would all be a lot happier if we put that fucking thing down.
It was interesting when I had, gosh, what was it? I had deleted like all of this stuff off my phone, and it was all on the other recording phone at the time. And I had found that I had even gotten rid of Facebook because the apartments were rented. I didn't have to worry about anything. And I would find myself sitting down and I'd like open my phone, and then I'm opening my email or I'm opening like Amazon. I'm like, what in the fuck am I doing? And I'm like, I'm bored and I don't know what to do. And instead of like going and finding something to actually focus on, I'm like sitting there realizing, man, this is what my brain does all the time. Like, how many times a day is this actually happening?
Yeah, I found myself gravitating towards it, pushing the app and going,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
Exactly. And that
And
was
I close
exactly
it.
my thought. I'm like, why am I here? What am I coming for right now? What is this that I'm trying to achieve or get out of this? And I'm like, I'm bored. Like, why am I bored? Am I not working on something I should be working on? Am I feeling like I should be working on something? And so I'm struggling with just being relaxing. Like, what is it that's going on that I'm, is there something I should be doing right now?
Yeah.
And it was just this really weird feeling. And I find that like a lot of those apps on our phones are just escapism.
Well, and here's the funny thing. They're bought and paid for by us
I know.
because of that new feel. that toddler-esque mind that we get, because what we wonder about is so captivating about stories and connection. And you want to know why movies are so shitty. You want to know why books are so generic and coming out so crazy fast. Is because we've foregone connection to comfort. It's uncomfortable to go out and meet new people. It's uncomfortable to be let down. It's uncomfortable not to trust others until they earn that trust. And it
was like last night.
Yeah.
I went and hung out.
Random.
I don't normally go hang out with people often. I hang out with friends, like a group of friends occasionally when we do a get together, because hey, I haven't seen anyone in a handful of months. We should do a get together. And then I see you, and we play games online, and we talk on the phone every day. And
we're really connected. We're
but aside
family.
from that, most of the people I don't actually physically ever see. I don't hang out with them very often. And so last night it was I went and hung out with a new guy. We were just friends, but it was new. And it was still this awkward kind of we smoked, but it was still this trying to figure that out and find that connection, that community. And it was interesting because he grew up in Iowa and he's out here now. His family was Mormon. He's not anymore. Were they nice? And he was like, oh, they're nice to your face. They're not really nice. They're just, I was like, oh, I get it. That's okay. And I was like, do you feel like you have a closer community now? And he's like, no, not at all. And I'm like, and I kind of thought about it. I'm like, it makes a lot of sense, because I feel like once you leave that community, there is no community, and you are almost kind of feeling like you're alone unless you build one. And that's what I was trying to do initially. I feel like when I was doing church on Sundays, was finding like-minded people that I could hang out with, that I could build this community with. And, I think so many of us just want that real connection, that, hey, where's people that I can trust and feel this connection, this similarity with, this hey, I feel safe here.
Yeah. There's not enough of those spaces anymore. And the reason why is that everybody's too fucking afraid to do it, to start something. And the fear of it's not going to catch on. It's like what you said right there. And I the funniest thing that I will say about what you just stated about Mormon wards and stuff like that, or I've been in both of them, where I've been in extreme poverty when I was a little kid, and how they treated my father and my family not very nicely. Then when we got to lower middle class, they're still kind of dicks, called me a spick, made fun of my dad, behind his back. All the guys there were prejudiced as shit. And then my grandfather died, and we moved way north, Orem, in the nicer areas, and I'm near the nicer, richer schools.
Yeah. And
totally different.
Really?
Slightly elevated. Old bishop. I mean, this guy thinks he's Jesus, is a carpenter. Fuck hell. Shit, you could be squishing limes for all I know, dude. It doesn't make you closer to Jesus, you fuck. Anyways, that guy was an asshole. He was a fucking asshole to my dad. He was a dick to me. And my dad was kind of in the church. My mom, too, at the time. I wasn't. I had left when I was 11.
Yeah.
And I had no desire to go back. And it was because of that. Now, fast forward many, many, many years later, I'm married, have 3 kids at the time, and we're going up in Hobble Creek. Extremely wealthy ward.
Yeah.
I was in between jobs right when I got there, and Elders Quorum president gave me a job on a Sunday. I was working a graveyard. I used to work at this a methadone clinic.
Yeah. Okay.
Where taking care of rich people that abuse drugs and alcohol, and they get detoxed. And then we send them up to the expense of the lodge that's here in Utah, where all the celebrities go. So we would get high net worth individuals coming to this. You would never guess. It looked like part of a strip mall, but inside was a medical facility. And I would do that at night, and it sucked. And Steph was so mad. She ran into the Elders Quorum president. She goes, "Hey, you own a rock company?" And he goes, "Yeah." "Hey, you need to get my husband a job, and he needs to make this." And he goes, "Okay. Can he start tomorrow?" "Yeah, he's sleeping right now. He'll totally start tomorrow." If she would have done that in another ward, she never felt like that in the other one. The ward, we had some issue that was in between that one. Dude, so many people were like, "Can we help? Can we help? Can we help?" And it was crazy that these communities of a lot of wealth, they don't experience opportunities to serve one another. And so they want to help each other. It's fucking weird. Even up on Grandview, never got that feel up there. Everybody was Sunday faces. There was a few.
The most part. Like,
Just a bunch of
there
judgmental
was
fucks.
yes, and that's where I spent 90% of my life was Grandview, and yet so there was the handful of ones who were just, but you find them everywhere. Like handful of people who are just like the kindest, best people in the world,
Mormon or not.
Yeah.
Good people.
and then most of them are judgmental fucktards who just are, hey, oh,
But you think
how
about
are
it,
you?
like Grandma Grandpa's generation, the way you had value was the public perception of what value was. Hard work, family oriented,
Education,
lots of children,
At your
education.
home.
Yep. This is the things that owning a home,
Yes.
land,
Yeah.
so important.
Are you musically inclined?
Yes.
How well read are you? Like, yes.
Dude, seriously, like it was all about that. So you take a generation who says, I don't know about that. And they go, wait a minute, this is the way it is. And they beat it into their heads when they try to change. Like your dad's generation, my dad's generation, dude, they were during like the flower power time. They could have been like, my dad's in his 70s. So, you know, in understanding like where they came from, I get why they look down on these other people, because to them, the way the value was perceived was hard labor, work.
It is.
And being on YouTube or anything like that, I still don't agree that being a person like Logan Paul creating garbage is a way for you to make money. But that just shows where our people have gone to. We are comfortably numb. We are comfortably numb. We don't give a fuck. And it would take a collapse of the global system where we have to focus, like you'd said, who's going to work in these factories? A lot of people will, because those will be the high-paying jobs. If you think about it,
you'll
now,
have to be able to run the robots and everything else anyway.
even if you don't have robots, like it's you look at
manual labor is one of the highest paid jobs
right
at
now.
aside from like,
dude, electricians. You take 10 years ago, they're making 3 times more now.
That's
like,
nuts. Yeah,
dude, like this woman used to live across the street from Grandpa. She's like right on top of the hill, and then
Davis's
no,
old house. I think it was
the old
Davis's.
house.
Ages and ages.
Yeah. So their daughter, who was going down a path of debauchery and being ran through by millions of dudes, she ended up hooking up with this one guy, kid, 23, electrician, dude making bank. He was working at the airport.
Good for him.
But I had asked him, I met him once. I said, hey, why did you do this? And he goes, really wasn't thinking it, but had a lot of really good mentors tell me, go do this. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm pushing my kids. I'm like, go to trade school, learn a trade.
It's huge, honestly. You could make
so much
money still doing that. And even like when
But isn't it funny though?
Like the roofing company. And it was like a realization of, holy shit, a monkey can do this. And a monkey can make how much? Well, if that can happen, then why can't any capable person do this?
And it all comes to comfort, man.
Yeah.
That's why people go like, I have to have a job that gives me an hourly wage. And the
commission
reason
only is hard.
Oh,
it is tough. I've only done that once in my life, and that was the hardest summer to go knock doors and do that, especially when it's commission only. And I had an entire week of bagels, and I was like, cool. I made no money this entire week. I spent my whole week busting my ass, working hard, knocking doors, and it was the hottest summer that Kentucky had, and it was the highest humidity. And so that was the hottest city in the nation.
His balls were soup.
And I was from Utah. I'm not used to the fucking humidity. Yeah, I went to Cancun for a week and a half, but not for an entire summer.
Not walking and knocking doors.
No. And so that was like the
All
worst.
soup.
It was so horrible. I'm like, oh my God.
But you think back to that time,
so
you were getting creative about
that.
what you fed yourself, what you fed your family, what you did. Entertainment was like the last thing on your mind.
Oh, I had no time for entertainment. My time that I had
was either knocking or worrying.
Sundays.
Yeah.
Sundays was my time. And that was, well, I'd spent my entire week working, so I'm going to fuck off at the pool. Mm-hmm. I'm going to sleep. Mm-hmm. And I might watch a show. That's my weekend. Or I might play a game. That was it.
Yeah.
And that was not very many hours. Plus, I had a wife and a kid out there. So it was like, well, that's like we hung out, we did all this. But I was 6 days of the week, I was out knocking doors for 10 hours a day, basically. Yeah. 8 to 10 hours. Like
selling shit that people don't need. And that's the thing. It's like if they want it, they'll be motivated to do it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's it's just so funny where comfort is something that pushes us into a deeper decline. And that's why I say, like, you know, if when I'm not doing okay, it's a like a governor now for me, where working out takes precedence because of it will push my body to accomplish something, and so I want to keep accomplishing more. And if I can just get a little bit more out of it, then I go, well, I could do a little bit more here too.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, with mental health and that, one of the biggest contributing factors to us having healthier mental health is movement of the body. So
100%.
doing that and allowing yourself and doing that movement probably is what allows you to go, hey, oh, fuck, I can now do this or this or this and have that. Because, like, when we're not okay, it's so hard to have any type of motivation to go, oh,
well,
I can do this, or, you know, feeling overwhelmed can come way easier.
Why would we want to do anything physical anyways when our lives are so convenient indoors where we can just get online and play, right? And that will work. And the only counter I would have to that is we are starved for connection. I saw this incredibly sad video. It was a while ago too, because I jumped off of Facebook for a while and Instagram and all of it and YouTube, but it was a video. I went back and I just wanted to look at my saved ones because I was off, but I didn't even spend very much time in there. On Monday, I spent a total of 13 seconds on it.
Oh, yeah.
It was this clip, and it was this woman who was crying. She says, I just want to kiss somebody. I am touch starved. I don't care. I'm thinking about getting on apps again just to hook up with somebody because I go, hey, you're good looking and I'm good looking.
Physical touch.
Yeah. We are starved for that. And what we're starved for is that connection piece. And because we have outsourced our communication to devices, to somebody else coming up with a narrative and us agreeing with them, we spend less time just trying to connect with other people. I try to connect with people on all sides of the aisle, even though, like, you know, I've got brother who is just like, his belief and his political view is so hard that if anybody doesn't agree with him, you're automatically on the other side. And yet, even though I don't agree with him on a lot of points, I'll still reach out to him. Like on Father's Day, I said, hey, fucker, just wanted to say your daughters could have done better. Love you, dude. Let's get together, have lunch and laugh. And he goes, bruv, thank you. I just learned by watching you and did the exact opposite. It's just like, that's my family's way of saying I love you. Like, it's very, like, I'm a very affectionate, my family is not. I have to force it out of them. Hey, I love you. My sister Melissa won't say I love you very often.
That's funny. Even talking to my dad, I feel like I'm the one often saying I love you.
Yeah, me
when
too.
I hang up. But that's just because almost every person I talk to, because they're people I'm talking to, right? They're people I care about.
Yeah, why not?
Like, why wouldn't I tell them
why
I
not
love
tell
you?
I love you, man? Because you know what it does, dude? Like, it's that thing, like, you know, the thing you start doing, I do, is thanking people for being there, well, no matter what it is. Because even though it's a shitty job, the reason why it's shitty is because they have no purpose, because they know it. They know what they're doing is not purpose-filled. They know it's just a way of
To
fucking...
exist.
Yeah, just you're existing. And the reason... And what do they sell you for your inspiration? It comes in plastic and it sits on your table. And it has controllers. It's cool, but it becomes the focus for people to connect. It's the only reason why. That's why multiplayer games are way bigger than individual story games.
Honestly, when I gamed for the longest time, I really only liked playing with others. I didn't play to just play a game on my own. I played to have fun with friends, like to joke and to laugh and like...
And games were for those random moments where you're by yourself and going, I don't really feel like a book. I don't want to watch a movie. Let's get in this game. Hopefully it has a story.
See, I never grew up with that because...
I didn't either.
So,
I wasn't... I mean, I had it, but I wasn't allowed to touch it.
Mine was the books. And so I was like, oh, all right, well,
I wish
books
my
are my
parents would
stories.
push books.
Until I graduated high school, and then it was like, I don't want to read another book. And I didn't
Which
for
is
years.
so funny. Right after high school is when I started reading.
Yeah.
I never read in high school. I was like, fuck this.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was all we did was...
But I can imagine, you know, growing up in Nazi Germany where you grew up and they're like, what are you doing? You better... You know,
and then like at night, our bedtime was super early. And I
All
remember,
cloaked with Jesus too.
I remember going to
No,
bed
it's good.
and like hiding under my covers with a flashlight, reading books, because if my mom saw the light and knew that I was reading, she'd get mad at me. But yet I'd stay up reading at night because, well, I couldn't fall asleep yet. And
You
know.
it was just something, and you found an ability to be able to be fond of it. You just didn't like being forced to do it.
yeah, and that was the problem, was I had gone through school where you had to read whatever they wanted you to read. Didn't mean it was a good story, well written, whatever. It was just
Right.
whatever, and they wanted you to gather what they wanted you to gather from the story.
Correct.
And that was it. Well, that's not why I'm reading a book, is to learn what you want me to learn. I'm reading a book to gather whatever the fuck I'm going to gather from this book.
See, I knew, like, back when I was in second grade, I remember this very vividly. I had this teacher, I had a separate English class, and we had 4 computers there, green screen, big fucking tube thing, huge keyboard thing, and then
Big ass computers.
right? I mean, these were the first ones. In this school,
yeah.
they only had 4, and they told us we had to write a story and tell it in front of the class.
Okay.
And this teacher was awesome. And, I procrastinate. I've always procrastinated. I'm not going to say like I'm just lazy. I just procrastinate
I've often been a
until last
procrastinator.
minute, usually.
Yep.
And that's when some of my best work comes out. And when I got in front of the class, all I had was a blank piece of paper. And all I remember was the teacher's face was just smiling the whole time. I don't remember the whole story. It was about Superman. And at the end, he was like, "Can I have that?" And I said, "Yeah." And it was a blank piece of paper. And he started laughing. He goes, "You made that all up?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, he wrote an A on it. Because he was
Oh,
like,
man.
if you could do that now,
Yeah.
what could you do later? And nobody gave anything to that. I wrote all growing up,
Yeah.
a lot of poetry to girls.
I wrote a
Soft
lot,
motherfucker.
surprisingly. I wrote like this long ass story in 6th grade. And then,
Because you wanted to explore.
yeah. And then there was history in freshman or sophomore year at Timpview. And I didn't care for school. I didn't like my teachers. It was a whole new school. I didn't pay attention at all. And then the test came around and there was an essay question on tell me about the Civil War and what happened. I'm like, fuck, I don't remember what she's asking for. Like, I don't remember these dates and all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to write a story. And I still remember the story. It was about Chungo, the elf, and how he helped the Confederate Army to win the Civil War, and so now we hail Texas. And she wrote this big F on the top of my paper because I had absolutely. But she was like, "Great story, though."
Dude, it reminded me of my brother when he was finishing up his bachelor's, and he had a sneaking suspicion that one of his professors wasn't reading his papers, but he always got an A.
Oh shit!
And so he purposely wrote in the middle of his argument about Smokey the Bear and how the world had fucked up not paying attention to him and how he went on a killing spree. All this shit he put in there, dude. And he turns in the paper, and then they get it back when they were still doing physical paper, and he got an A on it. And he goes, "Hey, professor, just wanted to ask you a few questions about my paper." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, what's up? What'd you think about my paper?" "Rafa, one of the best. It's awesome. You do great work. So I love reading your stuff." He goes, "Yeah, what did you think about the middle?" "It was a good balance." "Really? Can I read some of it to you?" And he started reading it. And the guy starts laughing. He goes, "My TA read it, but I already told him that you do great work, so who cares?" I was like, "That motherfucker,
Oh, that's
dude."
hilarious.
He's like, "All that time." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, all that time going to that class, putting in the fucking work for nothing."
Yeah.
Because he was just like, "Yeah, he's good." But you know what? My brother never did anything with that. Never did anything with it. It's like your
How
brother
many
Thomas.
of us do? You know,
That's why I
because
dropped out.
It's like no one teaches you to follow that spark of creativity of like, hey, you were really brilliant at this when you were little and it just came naturally and you didn't even realize it. And instead of just pursuing it because someone believed in you and saw that and pushed you to follow that because they're like, you would do amazing things at this and you would really fucking love it because you did it effortlessly.
Well,
and it felt like nothing.
You know, and the hardest thing for us, I've been kind of contemplating why I feel like I can't lift off again. And the biggest contributor was that when I went to Fun Launch Partners, you guys want to check it out, Fun Launch Partners. I'll put a link over there. The reason why it was so great was the guy who was running it was talking about all the things that he did, all the risks that he took. And yeah, he's wealthy, but he doesn't care about that. He talked about how his friends changed against him because he became successful. He wanted to get together with him, and they treated him differently. They weren't as nice to him. And he still every once in a while gets together with him, but he's like, when you change your mindset of you can do anything you want, there's going to be a lot of people over there who are angry and will treat you different because they don't understand why you can do it and they can't.
Because they feel like they can't do it.
Exactly.
They're not allowed to because of...
But they've been told not to. They've
Like
been told not to grow.
All of us.
Yeah. And when we push against it, like all anybody wants to say, and it's that comfort part, they're like, hey, just comfortable. Salary, same thing, 5 days a week. And the older generation, they don't understand that you guys fucked us. You fucked us to the point where we're paying more money for an ever-aging population to live. And it's not saying it's bad. It was just a bad program. And so, but we pay for it. My son, your kids, getting to working age, they will pay for it.
Yeah.
They will pay for their retirement. And when they get upset going, well, I paid into the system, so did we, and we're not getting it. Because the reason why it's going bankrupt, it just can't sustain. If we can shift our focus more towards connection, communication. That's why I got so... I honestly, dude, it was such a... Even though I'm dipping my toe back into marketing, I'm doing it from a different purview. I'm not looking at it from a how can I manipulate, but how can I inspire? How can I help somebody realize that they could do something? Like the Cosmetology Institute I might be working with really shortly.
Yeah.
Like they've got a goal. Like we just want to help people create a better life for themselves. Hair care was one of the most expensive things in history. Wigs, hair. So it's like,
well, I mean, we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Our women getting their hair done, it's hundreds of dollars usually.
But it's totally worth it. I think it's worth it, because there's a feel.
It's just, that's how it is though.
And there's attention to detail. There's skill involved.
It's an art. It's like going to a tattoo artist or something. And you're like, I want you to turn me into some creation. Make me look however.
Well,
well, any monkey can cut your hair.
Yeah.
But if you want your hair to look nice, you want it to look really good, well, you go to someone who's a really good artist who does it.
Because they understand the actual art. They understand the symmetry of your body.
And shaping and maybe the way that your hair moves and going, hey, would you be okay if we tried this different style? Because your hair actually, they might understand way more of your hair than you do.
I wish there was ladies like that when I was growing up. To cut my hair, because it was always like,
me too.
Yeah, Van Damme has that haircut. I want that haircut. Like, your face isn't built for that. You have a square head, Jesse. Like, no.
Mine was never that. Mine was, Aunt Michelle knows how to cut hair, so when she's here, she's going to cut your hair. Okay, well, she taught me how to cut hair, so now I'm going to cut your hair. And that was my haircuts until I was
It'd have been cool
18.
If you got the Flowbee.
I think I got my first haircut at a salon when I was 18.
Not me. My parents wouldn't even dare touch it. If they knew how much I like being bald, they would have hooked that shit up a long time ago.
Probably.
Cost them one clippers, last them like 6 years.
I know, right?
Especially back then, dude. But it is that, dude. We've allowed ourselves to be comfortably numb, and it's not like some big conspiracy. We bought into it because we like comfort. We just enjoy comfort too much.
Pink Floyd has a song on it. It's been around for ages. Comfortably Numb's not a new thing.
Dude, can we put a link down below for that?
Oh, we can throw a link to it.
Let's do that. Also, somebody asked about the comedian. I don't remember.
I put it in. I went and found it this morning.
Which was it? Which comedian?
Maddie Smith, I think. And it was the one that was like, oh, I don't trust people who...
Yeah, that one was fucking
really
hilarious.
Funny. So I put the link in it. That episode is San Fernando Valley OG, I believe.
San Fernando Valley.
So if you guys want to check that out. Also, for those who had gone and bought us a coffee, they closed that account because apparently they don't allow cannabis products or creators on their platform. So we're back on Patreon, and I realized we can build more of a community there. We can have more conversations, and we can connect with you. There's actually a chat that we can have.
What?
Yeah, built into Patreon. So we can have an active chat just for the community.
Oh,
there.
so cool. Instead of just going through the comments and stuff like
Yeah.
that, we can go directly through it.
And we can also still post on there, have other posts, but there's a direct chat that we can have
Hey, and
for
if
community chat.
If you're in there, start throwing ideas into there, what you would like to see, people you'd like us to interview,
Yeah.
because we'll try. And then topics that you think are cool, because, you know,
Got an
we want to
Instagram
really...
message from Abe about a new episode topic.
Oh,
so we'll
Abe?
throw that in. Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
like
always sends
Abe.
us messages. Wesley sent some Happy Father's Day messages.
Love you, Wesley.
Guys, Happy Father's Day. I mean, it's past, but happy belated to all
Yeah.
of you fuckers who are... All you motherfuckers.
Yeah, all you motherfuckers. Yeah, and for those who aren't paying child support, well, hey, don't worry about it. Get back to it when you can. But anyways... No, guys, hey, we love you guys. Great being able to chat. What do you think about today's conversation? We're going to be having guests here very soon. We've got Johnny Ritchie from Rockwell. He has got this crazy life, dude, from Nitro Circus.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
He's
I
a
remember
part
that
of
with
that.
Vivint because they were big into that.
I think Rockwell has a monster truck now. So we'll have to see
Wow.
if we can go up to Woods Cross and get some photos
Right
on
around
that.
the
That'd be cool.
monster truck.
Yeah, that'd be cool as hell, dude. But hey, guys, until next time, catch you later.